Yo, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are live and direct again here, MMA Reloaded, episode 37 of MMA Reloaded Real Talk. And tonight, it gives me a pleasure. It gives me pleasure to finally get this guy back on the show, the Silver City Strangler, all the way out of Silver City, New Mexico. Josiah Reyes, folks. And before we get to Josiah, of course, Josiah is set to come on around 8 p.m. GMT, 1 p.m. if you're in New Mexico. So, folks, what we do before we do anything, you know what we have to do. We got to do the particulars. Yeah, I know. But this is how it's done. You know what I mean? And just got to do them particulars, man. So do them particulars, baby. That's what it's all about. So it's all about, folks. Do that particular. I promote my merch all the time on Instagram. All the time, dude. I can say I don't promote the merch. So, folks, the particulars are done. And of course, we are entering a wrap up of 2020 as a year. Now, of course, folks, 2020 has been a shit year. I'm not even gonna lie. It's been one of the shittest years I can remember, in my 26 years of life. But folks, there's always that sort of a silver lining, right? And I've said this in a video that I posted on Instagram, folks. Another on the mic, and that 2020, folks. If you're a sports fan, no matter which sport, NFL, the NBA, the Premier League, football, yeah, MMA, you're glad that they're still on the air. You're glad that you're still able to watch those things, because during this pandemic, what have you experienced? Nothing. Yeah. What have we seen on the news? Nothing but tragedy and bans and the fact that the government are basically telling you to stop seeing you can't see your family for the holidays and all this stuff. And it is heartbreaking, and it's heartbreaking to see the number of deaths caused by COVID. And if you're in the UK like myself, it's hard to see the new string of COVID-19 entering the world, entering the UK. So folks, first of all, I apologize for the darkness, to be honest, but I don't know what the hell is going on with this. But yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? Well, it's not the 2020 you want to envision. And think about it. If you're an MMA fan, 2020 started off beautifully. Like, it started off so well, bro. And we had Conor McGregor and Donald Cerrone. We had so many great fights during 2020. Even with the pandemic, the UFC was still able to push through and make fights happen. And of course, that is so respectful. That is so respectable. That is so respectable, folks. If you've got a strong-willed guy like Dana White, basically saying, you know what, fuck COVID, I'm gonna do this, and this is my business, and because it's my business, why should I let it slide? You shouldn't, Businesses shouldn't be affected, man. There's always a way to grind. There's always a way of getting around things, and I think Dana White did it the best, bro. Dana White did it the best. you know. And folks, of course, wrapping up 2020, I just want to say thank you to everybody, man, um, for your support, your love, you know, your respect shown to MMA Reloaded. I I don't know if you know this little secret, but it's only myself operating the page. Yeah, and as a one-man army, I thank all of you guys, all the MMA fans, for your continuous support, for your continuous love and respect. It's always a pleasure to bring, and I'm glad I could bring these podcasts, folks, to you. It's been a real long time coming for me. Of course, starting our podcast, folks, in April, and now it's been 9 months, coming on 10 months now. And MMA Reloaded, folks, has been around for a bit. I started it 2014. Yeah, folks, so 6 years operation. I'm not here to tap dance or do ballet. I'm here to promote mixed martial arts. I'm here to broadcast mixed martial arts. I'm here, folks, for life. Yeah, and there's nothing untrue about that. I'm here for life. Like, I love this sport. I love it with a passion. I love it with pride. And folks, of course, uh, what a 2020 it's been for mixed martial arts. What a 2020 has been for the UFC. You know, great fights on tap. New stars, new rising stars, breakthrough stars. Kevin Holland, Charles Oliveira breaking through after a while. You had the return of, yeah, Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier. You got new champions. You got still champions. You got returns of guys like Rob Font. We saw Khamzat Chimaev come up. We saw Kevin Holland, of course, break records. We saw Davison Figueiredo and the flyweights excel throughout 2020. And so many other rising stars, folks, and across MMA, Bellator as well. Jornel Lugo. We saw Aaron Pico maintain his phenomenal status. And it does make you love this sport just that much more, man. That MMA can still, and combat sports, of course, with Glory, kickboxing, and of course professional boxing still on with Canelo, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia, all fighting through during this pandemic. So I appreciate every fighter that stepped up during the pandemic, of course, knowing that it's a risk stepping even 2 meters away from your opponent. But that's the whole fun of it, right? You're there for a reason. You're there to fight. You're there to scrap. You're there to make your living. We're here to show fans that yes, it is possible. Yeah, you can work around it. Yeah, there is a curve. And I think that's what all sports have done, and I love that. I respect every single promoter of sports, every single CEO, every single player, fighter, whatever you are. I love that, and I love the way, and I hope everyone takes a lesson and just keeps grinding. 2021, it doesn't look that much brighter, but it's a new year, and hopefully new and exciting things happen. Folks, Josiah Reyes, yeah, is going to be joining me. Of course, part of my brothers down in New Mexico with Jerome Rivera, of course, fighting on January the 20th, UFC Fight Night, UFC Fight Island, of course, headlined by Max Holloway and Calvin Kattar. I love this guy. I love talking to these guys, man. And I thank you so much, folks, for tuning in once again. It's MMA Reloaded Real Talk, the show where we talk real, we never lie, cheat, and steal. Episode 37. 37 episodes, folks, in 9 months. It's been an absolute roller coaster. This is our last episode of 2020. And thank you so much for whoever's tuning in. we are live and direct, and we are live and direct as always on YouTube. Of course, coming off the heels of UFC 256. Off the heels of UFC 256, of course. No, actually coming off the heels of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Jeff Neal, we saw the return of Anthony Showtime Pettis putting on a vintage Anthony Pettis performance. Highlights, we saw dynamism, we saw patience, we saw just an overall maturity in his personal game and in his professional game in the cage. We saw Jimmy Flick, of course, folks, showing that and showing what the new breed's all about, man. And I respect Jimmy Flick for that flying triangle choke. Fucking amazing, man. That was Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, folks, also showing that, you know, he should not be looked past at all. He deserves another shot at the belt. He worked his ass off, man. And to come down against a guy like Jeff Neal, who a lot of fans were awaiting his return, and do what Stephen Wonderboy Thompson did, it was amazing. It was amazing. You put in a vintage Wonderboy performance, orchestral performance, bro. And I loved watching that event. I loved watching that fight night UFC Vegas 17. Full of great fights on there, folks. So if you haven't checked it out, if you haven't watched the event, I urge you to go and watch it, man. I urge you to go and watch that. Of course, we had great performances. Heavyweight Marcin Tybura, Greg Hardy, Jose Aldo, and Marlon Vera. We saw the return of Rob Font with a bang. Rob Font's hands, folks, looked so good. So good. And his teammate, of course, with Calvin Kattar. So Calvin fighting Max Holloway, that is gonna really motivate Calvin Kattar, man, coming forward. And I think what we're gonna see now is a lot of hunger in these young guys to sort of push themselves up, and guys like Rob Font, you know, he is a veteran, you know, and coming off that knee injury, coming off knee reconstructive surgery, he knows what he has to do now, man. You could see a lot more of a maturity in Rob Font. Jose Aldo, the King of Rio, calling out TJ Dillashaw. It is something to behold, folks, and 2021 will be something more to behold in the UFC, no doubt about it. Let's see where Josiah Reyes is. Yeah, folks, we're expecting the Silver City Strangler coming soon. And yeah, man, that's basically it, folks. You know, 2020's been the year it's been. 2021, hopefully, going to be a better year for you guys, of course. If it isn't, and of course the restrictions are still on and all this crap, be happy. You know, continue being happy. Continue to grind. You know, if you're training, continue to FaceTime your family, man. Continue to FaceTime your family. Continue to FaceTime your families. Continue to get on that WhatsApp and keep WhatsApping them. Those types of things are so important, folks. You know, and today with Josiah Reyes, we're going to be touching on a lot of interesting topics, man. That not only MMA inside the cage, but MMA outside the cage, MMA in here and in here too. You know, you have to. There's a lot of things, folks, that go behind the scenes of mixed martial arts. You know, there's a lot of things that go behind the mindset of the fighter. And if you are a fighter, you know what I'm talking about, right? All the mentalities, all the mental issues. You know, having a strong mindset, having a strong physical commitment to the sport. That's what it takes, and that's what it takes to be successful. And today with Josiah Reyes, we're going to be touching on a lot of those topics, folks. And I hope you guys enjoy episode 37, the final episode of 2020. And yeah, man, let's wait for Josiah Reyes, folks, to come through. And let's get it started up in here. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it started. And of course, folks, on one quick note with Rose Namajunas, folks, of course, I think you may have seen it on our page on MMA Reloaded today. We posted it up. There was a lot of controversy surrounding Rose and her rejecting a championship shot against Weili Zhang. I can't see Rose Namajunas rejecting a championship shot. I think she's she's in a much better mental state than she was before when, of course, after Conor McGregor's doily incident. We may have a little issue up in here, dog. I see you, man. Let's see what's up right now. Josiah's just having some issues, folks, with with that technology. Dang. So yeah, folks, now we expect to have Josiah calling in very soon. I hope, man, I hope he does. You know, I've been waiting to talk to Josiah now for, man, we've put it off like 3 times now. Jesus. But yeah, folks, you know, Rose Namajunas, folks, I don't think any MMA fighter, unless you feel yourself you're not ready to compete for a championship, I don't feel any mixed martial artist would decline a championship shot ever. I don't think they would. I don't think that if I don't think if Rose Namajunas was given that championship shot and she was said, you know, and Dana said to her, yo, you know what? I want you to fight Weili Zhang. I don't want to admit that Rose Namajunas will forfeit that shot ever. There was rumors that she did, and that Carla Esparza was going to come in and take on Weili Zhang next. The thing is here, folks, is I would give the shot to Rose. Rose Namajunas said that she was ready and willing to come back. There's always that sort of juxtaposition when you have an open division like the women's strawweights, folks. And I mentioned this in my post on Insta when I posted up Rose Namajunas' when I posted up Rose Namajunas' interview, that she is not the only woman in that division that deserves a championship shot. I think you could give every single woman in that division a championship shot. Let me just give my password in that. Okay. Need to cross for 2 5 3 6 6. hopefully, folks. Yeah, so hold on. I think that strawweight division, and if you look at any women's division in the UFC, you will see how open they are, and that the fact that every woman that competes in women's MMA, not only in UFC but overall, will see that one fight, one win will propel you closer to getting what you deserve, what you feel you deserve. There's always a fact of earning your shots in women's MMA. In the UFC, there's always a fact of fuck you, I'm not gonna let you take my spot. I'm going in. You got Angela Hill in that division, Nina Ansaroff, Mackenzie Dern, Nina and Mackenzie are fighting in April. You got Zhao Nanyan, you got Joanna and Jacek still in there. There's so much talent in that women's strawweight division that it is unbelievable. Even Verna Yanda Rover's down there at the bottom. Amanda Ribas, so many women in there, man. And I cannot wait to see how it elevates, how it escalates. You know, how it escalates going forward in 2021. Same thing with the lightweight division. I can't wait to see if Charles Oliveira, what Charles Oliveira does next, what Anthony Pettis does next. He said he was moving down to lightweight. What does he do next? Does he fight Tony Ferguson again? Does Charles Oliveira fight Justin Gaethje? And I think we have Josiah Reyes. Yo, Josiah.
Hey, my man. Sorry about the lateness.
Hey, no. It's okay. It's all right, bro. It's all right, man. What's going on, brother? Finally, after 3 failed attempts, we get to have a talk, bro. And bro, it's my final show before 2021. You know, and it's good to have you back on the show, man.
Oh man, it's good to be back. I know. Sorry, things have been crazy here. I'm sure for you as well. And then today, I have really bad signal where I live, like for data and Wi-Fi even. So I was trying to download this app last second, and it'll literally take like 10 minutes to download this app. Probably it's horrible.
Now, bro, how was your trip to Silver, man? Of course, you went to go see your family, right?
I did. I went last weekend when I was talking to you last, and it was a little chaotic. So it worked out in a way that day that I was traveling anyway. It was good. I saw my dad, trained a little bit in the park with one of my good friends down there. He's a musician, so we get together and play some guitar and drums. And I had him on the pads a little bit, hitting the pads, trying it out. I even showed him how to hold pads, and dude, he caught on quick, man. He was holding for me good. He was hitting good. It's cool whenever you get people that just like, it's like their natural intuition is to kind of like hit pads and hold pads.
Yeah, definitely, man. I guess training whenever you can is, you gotta do it, right, bro? And I get you, man. Like it's good to always include your friends and family in what you do, man. Yeah, bro. I love that. Yeah, man.
I mean, you know how it is. It's so much fun to hit pads. I know you train some, so it's just so much fun. It's one of the best exercises you could do in terms of cardio, and even it's real good strength for the upper body, and so much fun. Such a good outlet. Get all that stress out, smashing the pads. It's a win-win-win for everybody.
Yeah, definitely, bro. Definitely, man. And you know what, Josiah, bro. First up, man, I just want to say about 2020, of course, bro, coming to a wrap. How would you describe 2020, bro? Would you say for fans of mixed martial arts that it's a blessing, or any sport really, bro, that sports are still being televised, and that sort of gives people something to lean on?
Yeah, man. I mean, what a broad question. It's such a massive question. I would say it's unfortunate that some sports got politicized. That was really disappointing to me. That left a bad taste in my mouth. But I will speak mostly in terms of MMA, because that's really the only sport I've been watching, to be quite honest. I mean, it's been, I don't know, man. It seemed fitting for what was going on in the world and in this country. Even, you know, people are, you know, pretty tense, pretty at odds, a lot of different things. So to watch fights just seemed like it was a perfect outlet for everybody's emotions and tensions, you know, watching some fights going on. Dang, they had them almost every weekend. They went so hard. And I think it gained more fans, MMA, this year, because it was kind of one of the first sport that kind of kicked off, and it's been very, very steady, and people, I think, have been drawn to it, either because there was nothing else to watch or just because it was more available. But I mean, I think it was a great year for fights. There was so many incredible fights, and then even getting to be a part of one UFC event was, you know, lifetime memories for sure on that one. So I don't know, man. It's a big question for sure. But as far as MMA goes, I think for like the highest level of MMA, it was really good, because Bellator was having events. LFA, of course, was cranking them out. Yep. UFC's cranking them out. One has been cranking them out. I'm sure some of the other organizations have been as well. The only thing that sucks is the local regional scene, especially if you live in a Democratic state, which I do in New Mexico. The Democratic states are locking down our states really, really heavy, and the Republican states have a little bit more leniency. They're kind of a little bit more open. Okay. So the regional scenes in all of these Democratic states, for sure, completely shut down. Not only is that shut down, but most of the gyms shut down as well. It's a nightmare living in a Democratic state, depending on who you are, of course. But I don't know. I guess it's been a good overall, the way I see it.
Oh, definitely, man. That's sort of the thing, right, bro? Is that you even experienced it, man, when you went with Jerome to his fight, bro. Do you how was that, bro? I mean, it must have been so quiet in the Apex Center, right, bro? That it must have been crazy to feel it with no crowd.
Yeah, it was very strange. It was almost hard to even think, because it was just like, it's quiet in the sparring room as it is. Like, it's real quiet, and all you hear is the rumble and tumble from the feet, slamming against the bottom of the cage. Yeah. And then maybe a couple of coaches talking, but it's super quiet. Maybe there's some music playing, actually. That's one of the big differences I realize is in the sparring room and under the bright lights or whatever venue you're performing in, there's no music. And when you're sparring, almost all the time there's music. So that's kind of like, I think that's something we need to keep in mind to adjust to, is maybe do some rounds with no music, and maybe even get some bright ass lights and hang them on the ceiling, because that's like a shocker. But that's for beginning people. Maybe. But yeah, it was a trip, dude. It was super, super quiet, and just like, it really, really felt like a movie set to me. I've actually never really been on a movie set, but what I would imagine a movie set would be like, that was what that was like. It was quite the experience. It kind of felt like the Hunger Games or something, where they're just like prepping you and whining and dining you, and then just sending you out to kill each other, is kind of the vibe I got.
Man, that's fucking crazy, bro. That sounds nuts. Like you make it sound like the Haunting or something, bro. Just bro, when we talk about mixed martial arts here, bro, and of course you can attest to this from experience, right? Is adrenaline, it's natural adrenaline, right, bro? And when you're in the cage, right? And I've seen it over the years, bro, watching MMA. Is that natural adrenaline can take over a fighter. So they get so pumped up that they don't follow the game plan, or they just go with the flow from the fight, bro. Do you what do you think about that sort of thing, man? And for a fighter, either during the fight or maybe later on in the fight, like just going with the flow, sort of, like forgetting the game plan and having adrenaline take over them?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a fascinating question as well. I feel like for the most part, what I've observed and experienced, the calmer you can be, and the more clear-minded you can be, and the more like even lower for a lot of the time, the lower the heart rate is. I just feel like maybe it depends on what kind of fighter you are. If you're more of a cerebral, technical, strategic fighter, I feel like that's going to benefit you most by staying calm, being cerebral, maybe keeping the heart rate down, keeping the adrenaline dump down. Of course, that's not always possible. If you get cracked hard, then your adrenaline just starts dumping, and it's like you go in a fight or flight mode, and it's a very strange feeling, and it's something that you can't really practice. I mean, I guess that's why some gyms like to crack you. Some people like to spar like they're basically in a fight. And I guess the one benefit of that is you get hit hard and you get like that a little adrenaline dump, and you get more accustomed to operating under a fight or flight adrenaline dumping. I had seen a recent Joe Rogan podcast where he had some neuroscience expert on. He did a bunch of studies on people in state of calm, and it was two states that they studied, people being, I think, in a state of calm for learning and then for sleeping. And they basically were studying that you have to be in like some state of calm in order to really learn anything. And also to, of course, be able to sleep. So I feel like that translates into fighting. The more that I think about it, the more that you can, well, for me personally, I could stay calm, think about things, be strategic, be smart, listen to the corner. Yeah. That's whenever I feel like that's just for me. But I'm sure there's some other fighters out there that are like, like I need to get hit, and then the adrenaline's dumping. It's like go, let's fight, let's go forward. It's kill or be killed. So I think honestly, I think it depends on what kind of fighter you are there.
Yeah. No, I think, Josiah, bro, I've even experienced that myself, and even when I'm boxing, bro, or when I'm shadow boxing, when I'm hitting pads, or even when I was sparring, I've always had like I start off patiently, and then later on I feel like fuck, I'm not going hard enough, or I feel like I need to be going harder, or even during a fight, bro, when I watch fights and you see a fighter, either he's behind or he or she are behind at round 2 or mid round 2, and they feel that, oh fuck, I'm not hitting, I'm not throwing as much volume, or they get like impatient. Yeah, bro. Do you think that sort of has a lot to do with it, like patience? Yeah, but that's what it's all about, right? In the end.
I would agree. I would definitely agree. Patience, taking your time. I honestly think fighting has got to be at least maybe more mental than physical. If anything, 50-50. But dang, man, honestly, if anything, I guess depending on stages of the fight, it might be 70% mental and 30% physical, because it's all in your head. You're basically, you're kind of in there against yourself. I mean, you hear people say that all the time. You're competing against yourself, and in a lot of ways you are, because you have your conscious that you're talking back and forth, and you're like, what you said, you're like, oh, let's go. Like, I'm not hitting him hard. I'm not throwing enough volume. I'm getting out strike here. Like, I don't want to go here. It's too risky. Or what if I do this and he does that? Or, I'm behind 2 rounds to none. If I don't get a knockout, like, I'm going to lose this fight. I'm stuck against the cage. Like, I'm losing. Like, this sucks. And I'm so tired. I just want out. Like, it's all like a mental battle. And that's the sucky thing about the fans don't experience, if they've never trained or been in like a real sticky situation in a fight. It's like all you see is the physical thing, and the fans are like, why doesn't he just get out of there and get the takedown and get the sub, and why can't he needs to do it? And it's like, yeah, it's so easy to watch from over here on the couch, but you have no idea what's going on in his head, let alone his body's probably battered and hurting in so many ways, broken even. Then the mind is like, you're tired, you're losing, you don't have what it takes, he's better than you, you got to quit, you're going to give up, there's no more time. like it's all a mental thing, and the fans really don't get to see that part.
Yeah, man. No, for sure. And I love like analyzing all these behind the scenes issues, and that fans don't pick up on, but maybe a more educated fan or maybe a fighter watching the fight will pick up on, And another thing, like behind the scenes, Josiah, is about gyms, yeah, bro, and camps and where you train and how you train, your nutrition, your diet, your routine. Do you think? Do you think that staying at the same camp and being loyal to the same gym um, is more beneficial than moving around and going to different gyms, or do you think staying at the same gym and having that set routine, if it's working for you, bro, do you think that's more beneficial?
I think if it's working, of course, the saying, don't fix it if it ain't broken. I think if it's working for sure, then there's no reason to really move. We have seen examples of fighters in the past get into some type of a slump, and they change camps and change gyms, and they find that click and that connection, and it works for them, and that's great. For me personally, I found it nice to put roots down and create a family. I feel like we're like some type of Spartan family. Like you've read about the Spartans where they get like super, super close to each other, and like they were just down to die for each other, and like that they were like literally like as close as family. And I've experienced that with this team that I'm with now, and it's such a beautiful thing. It's literally like another family, like just as much, if not sometimes even more so, because you're going to war with these people, and you're trusting your life in these people's hands, if they're your head coach or your teammates. And I found great joy in putting down roots, and I've seen people who cycle, who skip around, who jump around, and it definitely can work. And if people have the right attitude, I think it's cool too. And I've also seen the opposite, where some people skip around and they don't have like the discipline or the consistency to put roots down in one gym. They don't have the commitment level, so they'll stop in for a bit, train for like couple of weeks, or a couple of days, couple of weeks, even a couple of months, and then bounce to the next one, couple of days, couple of weeks. So everybody's just kind of, the way I see those people is I'm like, dang, like I'm down to train with them and everything and be cool, but I just feel like, I don't know, I can only trust that to a certain extent, just for the main reason of, they're going to go train at another camp and another camp and another camp. And it's very possible that you're going to fight somebody from one of the camps that they're stopping in at now, and they're just training with you for a couple of weeks or a couple of months. And then they're going to be like, with their new training partner, like, oh, you're fighting this dude. I just trained with this dude like for 2 weeks. Let me tell you about this, and that, So I don't know. I think it's most respectful and ideal to put roots down and build a family and build a team. And I get it's, good to change it up and to train here and there to get new looks and new partners and everything. But if that's just like a constant habit, I don't think it's good for the fighter. And I don't think people really look well upon that either.
No, definitely, man. And that's like one thing I wrote about in one of my publishings, bro, is that I said the headline of it, bro, I gave was MMA is a team sport. Yeah, and then like what I meant by that was, when I see guys like you and Jerome and Josh Montoya and Jess Martinez and Angelo Sanchez, guys are you guys, I feel like if you have a tight knit family. Why would you want to leave them in the first place, bro? And I think you guys are the perfect example, committed fighters, win or lose, you guys are there for each other. I think if you can develop that sort of a bond over the period of time, I think it works in your favor anyway, man.
I agree. I completely agree. I mean, we hang out even outside of training, and like I remember my coach once told me, he's like, I'm just down to, he's like, be your friend, and we're doing this thing almost on the side. It was like an additional thing, and it's such a fascinating, interesting dynamic that this team has, and I'm sure many other teams have a very, very tight family dynamic, and I think those ones oftentimes are very, very successful because there's so much trust there. There's so much people genuinely care about your well-being and they care about your success, and the motives are right. They're not secretly like, oh, I hope he doesn't make it. I hope, like, all of our motives are just for each other. We're there for each other, and I don't know. I wouldn't want to have it any other way, to be honest. That's been half of the joy is just like I got a new family. Like I have my blood family, and then I got this fight family. Damn, dude, they're almost equally as tight.
Yeah, man. No, for sure. Yeah, but and I think does it help when you have guys like you're familiar with in your corner, as well when you're in a fight. I mean, we've seen it with guys like Anthony Pettis in the UFC, who's been with his same camp, bro, with his brother for his whole career. And I know, like, was it beneficial to you, bro, like during your fights at LFA to have your corner in there with you? Who do you have, like Josh Montoya in your corner and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's very beneficial for a couple different reasons. One is, I've been with these same coaches pretty much the entire time, and I've got accustomed to their style, to their commands, and to their voice. That's real important too. Like I can hear. I don't even know that I listen to my coach's voice anymore. Like it's subconscious. I had a tough round like a couple months back. It was real tough. I actually like ate a couple hard shots on the feet, and I wasn't expecting it. I thought we were going pretty light, and I started getting like lit up out of nowhere, like on the feet. I was like, damn, I thought we were gonna go like 50%, but it was nope, we're going like 90%. I forgot to tell you that. Here we go. So I was getting hit, and I freaking shot a takedown and got a takedown to like slow things down a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like a fight. I went in a kind of fight or flight. Like my adrenaline was kind of dumping because I got hit pretty hard a couple. And after that round was over, it was like a pretty intense round. Like the whole gym was watching. It was like one of those rounds because it was at the end of the practice. Yeah. And it was over. And I went up to my coach Josh. I was like, damn, where were you? Like, you remember that scene on Happy Gilmore where he's like, make sure I don't do anything stupid. And then he's in the way of them teeing off. And he goes up to his caddy and he was all, where were you on that one, dipshit? That's how I felt. I was all, damn, Josh. I was like, where you left me hanging? Like I was fighting for my life. And he's like, I was coaching you the entire time and you did everything I told you to do. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I told you to do this and this and that, and you did everything I said. And I was like, holy crap, now that I look back, I actually did every single thing he said subconsciously, not even knowing I was hearing his voice. So, I mean, it's been cool, it's been comfortable. He's so good at reading the moment. Like if he knows you need to get pumped, he'll kind of tell you things to get you in that mindset. If he knows you need to be calm and cool it a little bit, like in backstage before, he knows how to keep it chill, keep it cool, throw on some music. He's like got a really good perception of like the atmosphere and like perception of the emotions of the fighters that he has because he's so close with them. So of course he knows them so well. He can kind of read their feelings, their emotions, their body language. He's very, very good at that. So yeah, I think it's been a huge benefit to have these teammates because they make you feel at ease. They make you feel comfortable. It's like seeing even the Vanilla Gorilla, man, almost all of my fights, especially in the beginning, like he's backstage too because he would be fighting usually on the main event for like a Buffalo Thunder card here in Santa Fe. Yeah. And he's just freaking so you've talked to him for a bit. He's super chill, super calm. And he's just like coming up to me like, you got this, baby. Like, no problem. Like, you're going to do this and that to the guy. And you feel me? And he's just like in my face the whole time telling me this and that. And like just seeing his face back there and seeing him warm up and then seeing like Jerome and then like Sanai Warrior and then our Professor Thomas Pless will be back there oftentimes. just seeing those familiar faces is, I think, really, really quite calming and reassuring. And then, like, of course, Ray E and Coach Luttrell, I've been introduced to them more and more, so they're like super experienced and chill. It's just I love the familiarity, I guess, of being with the same team.
No, for sure. Yeah, for sure. But and I respect that. I love that. I love that atmosphere. I love that experience. You know, of having those, of having that family environment, man. It's so important. You know, and as we transition, yeah, bro, and we go, and I want to turn to your activity. Of course, bro, you fought earlier this year, and do you ever consider as a high level specialist grappler, bro? Do you ever consider going back to professional grappling competition if you're not fighting, or the activity may not be what you want?
That's a great question. Again, you're loaded with the good questions today. Man, that's like the first time I've honestly ever been asked that question. So now I'm like actually thinking about it. As I think about it, first reaction is that's actually a great idea. I never even thought about testing the waters and getting some professional grappling experience. And I don't know why I've been. Go ahead.
Hey Josiah, bro, you got Polaris, you got Quintet, you got Submission Underground, bro. You got such a huge platform now for pro grapplers, man. That is unbelievable. Yeah. So I think, and I wanted to ask you this before, man, because I remember when we had the triple threat with me, you, and Jerome. You kind of expressed how hungry you were to get back in there. So I was like thinking, man, what the fuck, you know, just get back on the mat, you know, and roll.
Dang, that's crazy you mentioned that. Yeah, just like Cowboy and Dos Anjos just had a grappling match. I missed it, but I heard about it. And dude, I've been getting my love for jiu-jitsu like sparking again more and more. I started watching my Bernardo Faria videos. I got like a little library of instructionals, so I've been wanting to hit those, and I'm starting to get like more and more love. My love for grappling is starting to grow on me again. And then wrestling, of course, Corey's been working us with wrestling. He's one of our teammates, so the wrestling is like really, really, really enticing as well. I just love the way wrestling and jiu-jitsu go hand in hand.
Yep.
It's a good idea, man. I think I'm gonna definitely start looking in that direction this coming year and see if I could pick up a couple of professional grappling bouts. That's a great idea.
Yeah, man. And then like Josiah, bro, for young fans or young fighters trying to get into the sport, as a grappler, yeah, bro, how important is it to incorporate such good grappling in your arsenal, man? I mean, if you're a striker and you don't want to get taken down, you want to keep it on the feet, how important is grappling defense? Or if you are a jiu-jitsu specialist and you want to get it down to the ground, how important is it to have that game plan of jiu-jitsu? And yeah, man, how important is it for a fighter to incorporate world-class grappling, man?
Oh man, I mean, at this day and age in 2020, as an MMA fighter, I mean, you have no choice. If you don't have, I mean, you still see it. Well, not unfortunately, but surprisingly, you still see it even in 2020 at this high level that we're at. I saw some people on Saturday, you know, I don't know what, I'm not to say they should have done this or done that because I wasn't there, so I don't know what they were feeling or going through, but
yeah.
I saw some bouts that some people just looked completely lost whenever they get in certain grappling positions. They'll like freeze up, you know, if they get in mount. I saw a couple things in mount where some people, it looks like they like haven't really been mounted a lot in jiu-jitsu to where they've learned how to do a good mount escape or guard recovery. And then the leg lock entanglement's a whole nother story. And people, I saw one fight where a guy like kind of looked like he froze up when he got in the leg entanglement. and then he eventually got submitted, and it just seemed like he had not been there almost ever, and he like did not know what to do and just froze. So I think it's imperative, like you can't go far and not have a solid, very kind of a high level almost grappling. I mean, even look at somebody like Conor McGregor. I mean, such incredible striking. Everybody knows him as an amazing striker, and he's gotten so many finishes. But it's because he's had a pretty damn good grappling base that we never saw because he's never had to use it. But look at when people try to take him down, he's got a reasonable takedown defense. I mean, the only thing I could think of was Chad Mendes started getting the takedowns on him real nice. And he weathered that storm and came out on top. But then when he prepared for Khabib, I think he really grinded the grappling, and he almost stuffed that first takedown Khabib did. But of course, Khabib's Khabib and got it. And then the other takedowns, Conor really put up a good defense. And so the reason I bring that up is because he's the highest level of a striker, and he had to get high level of grappling, otherwise he would just get taken down and beat up. So I agree with my first professor. He said, take your aspirations of being an MMA fighter, if that's what you want, and build it off of a jiu-jitsu foundation or a grappling foundation, and that's the good foundation to build up towards. And I think we talked about this before, and me and Jerome were just talking about this. It's like when you get a jiu-jitsu guy and he's got a good base, and then you add striking to him, it seems like it makes more sense, and it seems like it's just like a better way to build, as opposed to getting a really good striker and then trying to add on grappling to that. It seems like it's less comfortable and awkward and a little bit more I think a lot of fighters don't have the patience. Strikers, they've done striking for so long, they get so comfortable with it. And then whenever, oh, damn, I'm a white belt again in jiu-jitsu. Oh, this 125-pound person's destroying me in jiu-jitsu. And, like, this kind of sucks. Like, I'm getting just killed every single jiu-jitsu class. Like, I've noticed a lot of them don't have the patience nor the time to really get comfortable in jiu-jitsu. So it just seems like it takes way longer to try to catch up the grappling than it does the striking.
I think I don't know. Like you brought up Khabib versus Conor, which is a great example. And then when we see Anthony Pettis on Saturday, Josiah, and we see Jose Aldo on Saturday, even nobody expected Jose Aldo to come out in the third round and take down Marlon Vera. He showed fantastic transitions, Josiah, and I think it plays into what we were talking about earlier about adrenaline. And I think that's what went through Aldo's mind. But the way Aldo executed the transitions, and he's such a good striker, we've never had to see him use that sort of thing before. But I think what he did with taking Marlon Vera's back and the defensive transition to get the back take and then backpack him all the way through until the end. I thought that was a great game plan, bro. I think when you're a well-rounded fighter, do you think that you can sort of play your strategy like that, like in the later rounds, use your wrestling, use your grappling, and then in the earlier rounds, sort of feed it out with your striking? And do you think that's a sufficient game plan?
I mean, yeah, and it could be vice versa too. It just depends, but it really comes down to how many tools, I guess you could say, how many tools you have in the tool chest, or how many, I guess a more relevant would be how many weapons do you have at your disposal. And some people's main weapons are striking, and that's their only weapons. Some people's primary weapons are grappling, and then you got people like Jose Aldo, he has nasty striking weapons, great boxing. The low kicks used to be, violent as it gets. Yeah. And then, of course, he's high level jiu-jitsu and grappling as well. So he can pull out any tool and any weapon from any one of those areas. So you just become more versatile and more dangerous. If something needs to be changed from round 1 to 2 or 2 to 3, They can be like, look, we need the takedown. We need to go for the sub now. Or, oh, look, the grappling's not working. We need to stuff the takedown and light them up on the feet. So, yeah, the more options you have, the more versatile, and I think the more successful you'll be.
And I saw a highlight from one of your fights, yeah, bro, from your last fight, and I saw that the fact that, of course, I know you as a Silver City Strangler, right? And I see you throw it out, and we talked about your grappling background. But then when I saw your last fight, bro, against Ricky Escribio, I was like, fuck, man, Josiah's got some striking on him, bro. Yeah, I saw you like throw high kicks, and you were using your range. I think does it sort of have that advantage if you can do both? If you're a good striker and you're an offensive grappler, because you can go to either, bro, when you need to, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was on that fight particularly. I had a real rough that week was a nightmare. That whole December month, that whole camp was crazy, man. Oh my God. So it was just chaos, and that week was it's just such a crazy ordeal. But I felt tight and rough that day. I just wanted the day to be over, man. It was a nightmare, honestly. Kind of like just the night before and then the day of, I was like, man, I feel so horrible. I'm so tight. Like, my right hip's out of place. I feel like the last thing I want to do today is freaking go and fight, honestly. But here we go. It's a tight day. So I went there, and once we hit pads, my coach warmed me up really well. And once we hit, I finally snapped out of it, and I was like, all right, I feel like I'm ready to actually go fight. And I felt pretty loose, pretty good on the striking. And I think once we started striking, he didn't want to strike. He wanted to get a takedown. And even my coach Josh, when we walked out, he's like, he saw Ricky Escobar's corner, and he's like, oh, okay. He's like, I know some of his corner people, and they're like heavy grapplers, like wrestler, grappler. Like, we're probably going to have to defend takedowns type of a thing. So sure enough, I think I won most of the striking exchanges early on, and then he went for that clinch and try to hit that takedown off of the cage, which we worked like a million different takedown defenses off the cage. Jerome was grinding us on oh my God, I remember so many trainings where we show up and it's like, all right guys, we're working off the cage again. All we're gonna do is just try to fight each other off the cage, take each other down. And it's like, damn, it was a grind, but it paid off because I got put against the cage and I was able to defend the takedown, and I think I reversed the position and then defended a guillotine and ended up on top. So that would have been kind of falling into their game plan of getting me to the ground, it seemed like, and attacking, their jiu-jitsu. But thankfully I had solid jiu-jitsu myself, and I was able to survive that damn BRUDDAS plata that he had me in and come up on top and then, of course, get the ground and pound and get the win. So if I didn't have that grappling, I probably would have panicked and got submitted. I kind of was panicking a little bit, to be honest. Like, damn, my arm's gonna freaking feel like it's gonna rip out of its socket, and it just sucks because you feel the pressure. You hear like the crowd, and you hear like there's lights. It's just like extra stress that you're like, oh, I don't want to lose. I don't want to tap. I gotta find a way out of this. But it's just crazy. But the years of jiu-jitsu, I think, helped me to stay calm in nasty situations like that and get out. And even look at Jerome in his Contender Series fight. He got put in that deep. I mean, it was like I think it was like an inverted triangle, but it was super, super deep. And he was able to stay calm and weather that storm because of his years of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a really good point, actually, Josiah. Because, bro, when I see guys being put in submissions, and I think to myself, all right, cool, that hurts like hell. Yeah, like when like in a flyweight championship fight when Davison Figueiredo put Alex Perez in the guillotine and Alex Perez tapped. But when you get put in a submission, Josiah, what is the first thing that goes through your mind, like when you're getting put into a submission hold?
Man, I mean, I guess it's different for everybody. For me, it's like hands on the submission for me, where I'm like, okay, I'm pretty good at getting out of these. Like I have a pretty high percentage rate of getting out of these.
Yeah.
Or it might be like, oh no, like I'm in a something, and it's a lot lower of a percentage rate of getting out of this. So I need to stop thinking like that, because on the low percentage escapes, I'm like, I get in my own head, and I could be like, dude, it's a low percentage escape. Like,
Yeah,
you're already in big trouble. What are you gonna do? Like, you better figure it out, right? Like, I'll start to get in my own head. So I try to stay calm, honestly, with whichever one it is. I try to stay calm. I try to think like, well, you know how to get out of this. Like, it's a clock. Like, who's ahead of who, and who has like the, I guess, the strategy to beat your next move. Because you're gonna get out of this sub, there's very likely another sub or two right behind it. So you got to be like, okay, I'm gonna get out of this, but what's waiting for me right when I get out of this, you know? So it's just a lot going through your head. You got to figure out how to stay calm, how to use your technique to nullify the position and escape, and then already be mindful of what he's going to do next and what you're going to do next.
Yeah, man. No, bro, I couldn't agree more with that one. You know, that's as real as it gets right there, bro. And when you see different techniques, you see different cultures, even, bro, in MMA. You see guys from African backgrounds, from Latino backgrounds. You see Caucasians. You see everyone, bro. Yeah, and I think what we see now is a lot more of that cultural takeover, cultural techniques. You see different guys, you know, like you see guys like from Africa and Eastern Europe. You see guys from Russia and now Georgia. But how do you, Josiah, bro, and I want to talk about this with you, man, because how do you feel when you see all these different cultures, all these different religions, all these different people from all walks of the world come and compete at the highest level in the UFC?
Personally, I love it. I love seeing the new cultures. I love seeing just like everything about it, the different flags, the different things that people are wearing, the different corner people, the different style, the different mentality. When you hear them being interviewed and you hear like what they're about, it makes me so happy, because it's a sport that you don't have to have a lot of equipment to practice. And that's what I love about it, is you can literally just practice it with a body and another body. Even if you're going to hit pads, you can hold your hands and cup them and have the person throw light and hit fist to palm, you know, and you can drill jujitsu with just a body and a body. And so I love it for like some of the countries where they don't have as much money. Like I've been seeing some videos. I'm not too sure where they are either. I think some of them are in South America, some of them are in Africa, and you know, there's children who don't have a lot, and they're getting trained by some people, and it's like in big groups too. So they have like big groups of these children doing shadow boxing and doing drills by themselves, shadowing them, and they're looking freaking amazing. They look good. They look sharp, and they're having fun, and they're learning self-defense. So I'm thrilled. I think the more the merrier, and I think it's such a beautiful martial arts is such a beautiful thing, even though it has kind of a violent maybe past and a violent origin of war and people trying to go to war. Basically, is where the origin of it is, and still, of course, that is some of it today in the military and the law enforcement. But in terms of like a recreational exercise and a pastime and a self-defense, valuable self-defense, which I think is imperative that everybody learns some level of it. I'm very, very excited that it's spreading the way that it is.
Yeah, man. Me too, bro. And I think when we look at martial arts here, bro, and I think when we look at martial arts and we look at the fact that some people who don't know that much about martial arts or mixed martial arts, and they think that martial arts, hey bro, yeah, you UFC, right, bro? Nah, that's not what it is. I think what people need to understand is that it's an art form to me, man. Because when I see guys like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, or I see guys like throw different techniques, and you know, they throw different submissions, or they get inspired different ways. You know, I believe it to be such a poetic art form, man. It's like a chess match. It's like writing a symphony. It's like you know, showing your intensity, showing your commitment, hard work. Yeah, bro, it's an equivalent of being in your 9 to 5, man. That's what it is for me.
Oh man, there's nothing like it, and I'm glad I heard it from my coach first. He said, you know, it's time to go and paint your art on that canvas, you know, and it's so true. And there's no other art form like it, because like music, which is something I do heavily, you spend time writing your riffs and rehearsing and writing, and it's similar to drilling in a way, and you compose a song, and there you go. Or you can also have, you know, composed songs, and then also have freestyle time where you get together with other musicians and solo and jam and freestyle. And that's the closest thing to I guess to a fight would be, because in a fight it is an art. It's a beautiful, beautiful art, and you're creating all your tools to go and do your art. And it's crazy because you have to go do your art with another brand new person who's trying to do their art, and you guys are trying to do your art at the same time together.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else like that, because even in music, when you get together with the guitar and drummer, you guys are like really trying to be on the same page, and you know, bounce ideas off each other, and hook up in the same mindset together. But in the art of mixed martial arts and sport fighting, it's like the complete opposite. You're trying to like impose your art on the other person. So there's no other art form that's like this.
For sure. No, for sure, Josiah, man. And bro, for me, that is the perfect way to wrap up this episode, man. It was episode 37, the final episode of 2020 for me, bro. And it was a pleasure, man. You know what? You have become one of the guys. We're like you, Jerome, bro. Your whole team, man. You're like my brothers. Yeah, and I respect you guys, man. Thank you so much for coming on, Josiah.
Oh man, it's been a pleasure, dude. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to speak and share about this thing that we love so much and are passionate about. And man, you're doing good. You're killing it. You're like the primary source of my MMA news now. I'm like, dang, I'm staying up to date with all the work that you're doing, man. You're freaking on that grind, dude. You're putting in some legit serious research and like journalism and analyzing fights and fighters, and you could tell you're just man, you love this so much. It's like it's a part of you, you know, and I really appreciate and respect that. So thank you.
Thank you so much, bro, man. That means a hell of a lot to me, man. And I appreciate the fact that, you know, you said about, and I know you liked my the breakdown, the shout out that I did, bro, Saturday night's event, you know, and I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the fact that you took your time to read it, and I like it, man. Thank you so much, Josiah. Thank you so much for coming on the show, bro. It was a pleasure, man.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Till next time. I hope you have a safe holiday time, man.
You too, man. You too, brother. Thank you so much, man. A happy New Year and a Merry Christmas to you, brother.
All right, happy New Year. I always mix them up. Happy Christmas, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, man, for sure, bro. Thank you so much, brother.
Take care, man. I'll see you on online at least.
Yeah, definitely. Man, shit. Once this COVID's over, man, I'm coming to New Mexico, bro.
Hey, yep. Hopefully in time for like summertime, summertime. Summertime will be real nice around here.
Definitely, man. Thank you so much, Josiah.